Hi, my name is Jill Jonathan, host of The World We Want, and today I have an incredible guest, Ashanti Gholar. Thank you so much for joining me. Just a little bit about her. She's very impressive. She's the president and CEO of Emerge, the nation's largest network of women elected officials and candidates. She has been recognized by She the People as one of the women of color in politics who would play an impactful role in the 2020 elections and beyond. I think she's doing that. And she's also the founder of the Brown Girls Guide to Politics and its award winning podcast, which was recently recognized by The Guardian as Practical Guide to Progressive Activism. Welcome, Ashanti. I'm very excited to have you.
Oh, thank you, Jill. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So let's just get started because you got your start in grassroots organizing, and I want to go back there. Like, how did you get that start? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so I actually don't come from a political family at all. They voted, but we didn't talk about politics and civil rights and activism at the dinner table. And one day when I was a young girl, my mom got up from the couch. We were watching TV, so I did what young kids do. I'm going to start flipping the TV to find something I want to watch. And I discovered a clip of C-SPAN, and I was just like, what's going on here? There are all these people who are arguing and fighting about making the country better. And I was just very much intrigued by politics. I didn't know the name at the time, but just so intrigued by all of these people who were really just passionate about fighting for our country. But even at that young age, I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. I didn't see a lot of young people. I didn't see a lot of black and brown people. Didn't see a lot of women. So it does make you think, okay, is this even for me? Can I get involved? And I did get involved, and a lot of that came from having amazing teachers, particularly an amazing government teacher, Mrs. King, who really encouraged us to get out there and volunteer and learn about the people who are going to be making decisions that impact our lives. I mean, she was that government teacher that on your 18th birthday, she gave you a voter registration form. That was her present. And just being in her class, being able to interact with all these elected officials that she brought to talk to us young high school students, it just really gave me the bug. And now I get to wake up and do this every day.
I love teachers like that. They're just so amazing. My next question was going to be, was politics discussed, in your home growing up? And I think you kind of talked about that, but can you tell me a little bit about growing up, if you ever talked about it?
No, we really didn't talk about it at all. So I think I'm also very much an astrology girly. So after having my astrologer read my chart, I also realized politics very much is just in my DNA for me to be here, to be involved, particularly when it comes to women, when it comes to civil rights and justice. But I will say they always encourage my political activism. It was something that I was never told, to tamper down. I remember we were doing a protest one day of President Bush's visit, and I held up my sign that said like warmonger, and that photo made it to the front page of the Las Vegas Review Journal. And I remember my uncle calling me that morning, just beaming with pride that his niece was on the cover of the local newspaper fighting back. But once I did start to get more involved, I did see my family start to get more involved, particularly when President Obama ran. They were just really excited. So I even saw it from my younger brothers who were like, wow, here's someone who looks like me who can actually be president of the United States. So I will say I was very lucky to have a family that supported my political goals and my activism and just being out there making a difference.
I mean, that's incredible. I think a lot of us know that support is so important because it's hard to do it alone. And so, just tell me, I know you've started a lot of really cool things, and I want to talk about the Brown Girls Guide to Politics. So tell me a little bit about that and why you started that.
So for me, I've just been very lucky, as I said, to have people who have uplifted me in my political journey. And that includes a lot of great women who have been able to serve as mentors. I'm able to count the Bishop Leah Daughtry, Mignon Moore, Donna Brazil, Yolanda Caraway. They did all of that work. And I just realized I'm really lucky in that way, but a lot of people aren't, where they don't get that type of support and mentorship. And I was just traveling one day. It was early in the morning. I was off to the airport to travel somewhere. And I had another email from a young woman who said, I want to get involved in politics. I don't know how. Where do I start? Can you just have a conversation with me? And I just got emails like that all the time. So I started thinking about what is the opportunity for me to pay it forward to other women in politics. And I was like, I can start a blog. I can ask my friends if they want to blog with me. And that's how the Brown Girls Guide came to be. It started off as a blog, and we did a blog series called Being the Only Brown Girl in the Room, which really took off. And that is what led us to have the podcast, which has really been amazing.
That's incredible. I'm like, you've been a leader in your family, a leader in your community, and I'm like, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. Like it just keeps getting bigger, your leadership. And so, that takes me to Emerge. And how did you get your start with Emerge? And then what has been one of your proudest moments? I would imagine there's been many, so you can name as many as you want, or the most proud moment that you've had.
Yes. So it was 2006 when I got started with Emerge. They were bringing an affiliate to my home state of Nevada, and I just knew this is something I absolutely wanted to support. I was the president of the Young Democrats of Nevada back then. That was an organization that was started in the 1960s, but I was the first woman to lead our state Young Dems. I was working for Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley. She was the only woman at the time in our congressional federal delegation. And just looking around, women's representation was very absent in Nevada. And what I loved about Emerge is that they were going to be doing that long term investment in our state, because I continually just saw people come in during the election season, dump all these resources, and then leave. But Emerge was going to build long term infrastructure, which I get to see today, that my nieces and nephews get to grow up in a better Nevada than I did, due to our amazing Emerge alums who also helped create the first woman majority state legislature in the country. So I got to see Emerge alums do that. And being with the organization, we're celebrating 20 years this year, which is exciting. So to be around pretty much since the beginning, I've been at the national organization for 9 years, president for 5. As you said, so many big moments. But what I love is just continuing to see women step up and want to run despite the political climate. In 2016, after we didn't get our big win with Hillary, we saw women step up and say, okay, if not Hillary, then who? Then me. It has to be me. I have to be the one to step up and lead. In 2020, with the pandemic, so many people seeing, especially how local government was broken, and these women stepping up to run for school board, city council, those seats that a lot of people don't think about as being important, but it's really those state and local seats and those elected officials that have the biggest impact on our lives. And just even today, in this moment, when we know that they really love to attack women, I say that this has always been a thing. Just because of social media, 24-hour news, I think people are seeing what women have to deal with when they're running, the sexism, the racism, the misogyny. But despite that, just I'm always so proud when we are in our recruitment season and we have all of these applications coming in from women who are still saying that they're going to step up and run and lead in their community. Like that always makes me so happy.
I love that. And so, can you tell me a bit about Emerge's Seated Together program and what that is?
Yes. I love See It Together. I love all of our programs, but for us, this one is really special. In our Emerge 2035 vision, we have a Lift as We Climb strategy. That means that we want women to run for higher office. I think they get this idea in their head, or the patriarchy likes to tell us, oh, just bloom where you're planted. You got elected to this seat, you're doing a good job, people love you, just be happy there. And we don't have to do that. We consistently see how they have the old boys club where they're maneuvering, doing all the deals. And I say we get to have the new girls network when we're lifting each other up. So that lift as we climb strategy is making sure that we do have our alums running for higher office, but it's also being really strategic and reaching back and making sure that when they do run for higher office, we have an emerge woman who can run for that seat. Because we know there's going to be a man who will immediately raise his hand, probably knows nothing about the seat or the district or the work, but he's going to run. And within that, we have our See It Together program, which focuses on Black women elected officials running for higher office. And it has been extremely successful. We are in the fourth cohort right now. But my fun fact is the three previous cohorts, every single one has produced a new member of Congress. So it has given us Congresswoman Amelia Sykes from Ohio. It has given us Congresswoman Janelle Bynum from Oregon, the first Black woman to represent Oregon. And it's given us Congresswoman LaMonica McIver from New Jersey, who I know a lot of people are familiar with. But I was not surprised to see Congresswoman McIver standing up for her constituents and her district, and we continue to stand by her because those are the types of leaders that we need in Congress right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as the president and CEO of Emerge, what is your main focus right now?
Oh my goodness. Every day, me and the team, we focus on doing our recruitment and training, really letting women know that they should run for office, and there's a program like Emerge that can help them. So we are kicking off recruitment season right now, which is exciting. We're also continuing to celebrate our 20th anniversary. I'm going to be heading to South Carolina in a bit to do a 20th anniversary celebration with them. And we're really excited about Dr. Annie Andrews, who is running for U.S. Senate in South Carolina, and our boot camp programs as well. Those have been extremely popular and really for women who have decided to run for office, but they haven't had any training and they want to do an emerge training. They're able to do our boot camps and doing several step forwards, throughout the end of the year. And those are our basic 101s for women who think they may have that bug, they're not quite sure. We really do the initial steps to demystify running for office. And we'll be doing those virtually. We'll be having some in our states. But it's one of the things that I love is that we continue to expand our program offerings so that there really is something for everyone. Just even one of our programs that is taken off this year is called Emerge Rising, and that was created for formal federal workers for them to start to think about continuing their servant leadership in elected office. And it was so popular. We did East Coast times. Our West Coast friends were a little mad at us and they're like, can we get some times over here? So we ran it again. But women are stepping up to run, and we just continue to meet that need.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, as a woman myself, and friends that I talk to, we're all like, okay, somebody's got to do something. I always say that where we're like, somebody's got to do something, and then we have that realization that it's like, oh, I'm that
Oh,
somebody.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess I'm gonna do something. And so, the work that you all do is exactly what we need. And that leads me to my next question. Like, what is your advice for women who are feeling overwhelmed by the current political landscape? Who
Yeah.
maybe are like, somebody should do something, or like, I just don't feel like doing anything. I just don't
Yeah.
even know where to start.
Yeah. And I'm going to recognize like it is hard right now. This is probably the hardest thing that we've had to deal with in recent memory.
Yeah.
The people who are in the United States right now. But it's one of the things that I always tell our alums or any woman who is considering running for office, getting politically engaged. It is part of the tactics not to keep us involved. They want to keep us scared. They want to keep us overwhelmed. They just want to keep us in this state of shock and awe, which is what they said that they were going to do. It was going to be just shock and awe. This is part of the plan because when we are just so overwhelmed and distraught and can't even think straight, we don't get involved. And then they win because nothing changes. And that is their end game. They really want to preserve this system that works mainly for straight white Christian men. If you're not in that, they're really not caring about you. So that's what we really have to hone in on is our disengagement is the plan.
Yeah.
That is what they want. And also, it doesn't have to be the big, huge steps. I think because post 2016, we had all the marches with millions of people, and we don't have that this time. People are thinking, oh my gosh, are we just done? Have they won? They absolutely have not won. They are not winning. In this moment, it's really about community. And it's those small actions that you can take every day to support your community. So even if you're just reposting something that your local elected official said, that's going to reach people in your feed who need to hear that there is someone fighting back. If you're the one organizing the letter for the PTO to go to the school board, you can do that. If you're the person who gets to church a little bit earlier, stays later, and says, hey, we really got to talk about what is happening. You know, what's the plan for how we're utilizing the church? Who here has resources? How can be supportive to people in the community? So that's really what I want everyone to realize is you don't have to be out there marching every weekend. Like we are doing the marches, they're great. We need that sustained effort. But how we're going to win this is by those little things that we do every single day to remind them that we are here, we're not afraid, and we're still fighting back.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, you touched on community too, and you
Mhm.
find community at the local level.
Yeah,
And I just think that's so important. I think I know a lot of people I talk to, they're so overwhelmed. I'm like, well, do you know who's on your school board? Do you go to the school board meetings? Just
yeah,
something as simple as that is where you can find other people so you don't feel as alone.
yeah.
So, Ashanti, I have a feeling you could answer this question a million different ways. So, just answer it however feels truest to you in this moment. But, I called this show The World We Want because I want to offer people hope. Like, you have to understand what's going on. But don't go into despair because we can't create something better if we're living in that, in despair. So, as we're paying attention, we're also building the world that we want. So, can you finish the sentence? I
Yes.
want a world.
Where women are in charge of everything. I just think it would make our country, our world so much better. I mean, men have been leading for a minute and it hasn't been that great. I think we definitely need to see what happens when we have more women in charge. And we do have the evidence when I look at our Emerge alums who have created these majority woman governing bodies, things are so much better. You know, when Roe fell, they were able to, easily start to implement protections in the state. You know, that's what happens when you have women in office. When you have women leading, they introduce more bills, co sponsor more bills, bring more money home to their district. But most importantly, when you have women leading, they care about everybody. There may be that singular why that drove them to say, this is why I'm running for school board. This is why I'm going to be a DA. This is why I'm running for Congress. But when they are there, they care about everybody. And those are the types of leaders that we need, where they know their power and their impact, and that they can lift up everybody, just not a select few.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And so, where people who are listening and watching, where can they find the work that you do and the work that Emerge does? I'm hoping they want to get involved.
Yes. I mean, definitely run for office. If it's not for you, you can always support women that are running for office. You can volunteer, you can work on their staff, you can donate. Please, the $5, everyone, it makes such a huge difference. I see it all the time with our alums. Those small dollar donations are huge. So even when you're like, oh, my $5 may not do anything, your $5 is getting women elected across the country. But you can find us at emergeamerica.org is our website. That's where we also have all of our information on our trainings, and our alums are in office. So if you want to see if you are represented by an Emerge alum, we are also on social media. We are on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I call it Twitter. then we have Instagram, we have Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube at Emerge America. You can find me. I'm mainly on Instagram at Ashanti Golar, but that's all of my social handles. And for the Brown Girls Guide to Politics, you can find us at thebgguide.com.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing this and the work that you do. It just offers so much hope. And more than hope, it offers action, like way to actually take action when people are like, what can I do? What can I do? So I just appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for creating this platform so we can talk about all the amazing things that people, especially women, can do during this time.
That's right. If all of us does a little, then none of us have to do it all. So
Yeah.
that's something that I hold on to. And so
Yeah.
you can do it. Like there are places like Emerge that can help you do it. So I just encourage everybody, if you want to see a better world, you can take action in creating that world. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.